Okay. I can wait. What's up, Logan?
Do you hear that? Do you hear that duck, Logan? There's no duck. You gaslighted. No. You gaslighted.
How's work, man? Nice.
How could you get gaslighted, Logan? That's great.
New colors? New colors? How was it? I didn't get anything about new colors. Oh. Another one there. Okay. Cool.
No duck, Logan. There's no duck. You gaslighted.
No, or he asked me to wait till 4 to start reading. You ready? Okay. But then we have to do Uno before anything. Before media. I meant like ultimately before anything, because it's after first allotment we have to do Uno. A day when there will be a song to sing. There is the Lord Yahweh armies. Lopping. All right. Hey, Sweet Kid, I'm going to start reading, okay? There is a Lord Yahweh armies, lopping off bows with a crash. The loftiest in height are being felled. Okay. The tall ones fall down. The thickets in the forest be struck down with an axe, and Lebanon will fall by the mighty one. But a shoot will come out from Jesse's stump. A branch will sprout from his roots. Yahweh's breath will rest on him. A wise and understanding breath, a breath of counsel and strength, a breath of acknowledgement and awe for Yahweh. His delight will be awe for Yahweh. He will not exercise authority by the seeing of his eyes. His delight will be awe for Yahweh. He will not exercise authority by the seeing of his eyes, or reprove by the hearing of his ears. He will exercise authority with faithfulness for the poor, and reprove with uprightness for the lowly people in the country. He will hit the country with the club in his mouth, with the breath from his lips. Faithfulness will be the belt around his thighs, truthfulness the belt around his waist. Wolf will sojourn with lamb, leopard will lie down with goat, calf, lion, and yearling together, with a little boy leading them. Cow and bear will graze. The young will lie down together. Cougar like ox will eat straw. A baby will play over the cobra's burrow. An infant will hold his hand over the viper's hole. People will not do evil, they will not destroy. In all my holy mountain. Because the country will be full of the acknowledgement of Yahweh. As the waters cover the sea, on that day Jesse's root which will be standing as a signal for peoples, nations will inquire of him, and his abode will be a place of splendor. On that day, my Lord will again apply his hands to get the remains of his people that remain. From Assyria, from Egypt, from Pathros, from Sudan, from Elam, from Shinar, from Hamat, from the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. He'll lift up his signal to the nations and gather the men of Israel who were thrown out. And the women of Judah who were scattered, he will collect from the four corners of the earth. Ephraim's jealousy will go away, and harassers within Judah will be cut off. Ephraim won't be jealous of Judah, and Judah won't harass Ephraim. They will fly against the back of the Philistines to the west. Together they will plunder the Easterners. Edom and Moab will be subject to the extending of their hand, and the Ammonites will be their obedient people. Yahweh will dry up the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and will wave his hand over the Ephraimites. With the heat of his breath, he will hammer it into 7 washes, and let people make their way in sandals. There will be a highway for the remains of his people, which remained from Syria, as there was for Israel. On the day it came up from the country of Egypt, You will say on that day, I will confess you, Yahweh, because whereas you were angry with me, your anger turned, and you comforted me. There is God, my deliverance. I will trust and not be fearful, because Yahweh, is my strength and might. You will draw water with joy from the fountains of deliverance. You will say on that day, confess Yahweh, proclaim his name, make his deeds known among the peoples, make mention that his name is on high. Make music for Yahweh because he acted in majesty. This is to be acknowledged in the entire earth. Yell and resound, inhabitants of Zion, because great in your midst is Israel's Holy One. All right, any themes to that to you? Themes to that to you? You know, it's talking about a day of justice. You got the Jesse stump, a branch will sprout from the roots, which is a clear indication of the Mashiach. And this moment of clear violence, but the clear violence will be at peace, like cow and bear will graze. The baby will play it with over the cobra's burrow. And then how it seemed like the nations will be put to rights. All right. Our city's annual Black History Parade this year had the theme, Looking Back and Remembering, We've Come a Mighty Long Way. The words reminded me of the hymn, We Come This Far by Faith. But in my head, I can hear some African American people rightly adding, but we have a long way to go yet before we have a full place in our society. There are too many African Americans in prison and not enough in college. Our teenagers will get slain by police or vigilantes. The dean of one of the schools in my seminary has been stopped by the police for driving while black. Do you stress the positive or the negative? There are people who see the glass as half full and others who see it as half empty. Both play an important role in the community. This section of Isaiah presupposes versions of that tension. Isaiah sees the Assyrian force being felt. He sees it only in vision. It won't happen for another century. Maybe he was disappointed not to see it fulfilled in his lifetime. But he has the vision, and hope depends on the vision. Likewise, he can see the felling of Jesse's tree, that is, the fall of David's dynasty. This fall he can also see only in a vision, but he can also look beyond and see a new shoot growing from the felled tree. Earlier, he applied the imagery of felled tree and new shoot to the destiny of the people as a whole. Here it applies to David's household. The new shoot will lack the weaknesses that the Davidic kings have usually shown. He will realize the Davidic ideal in showing both compassion for the weak and toughness toward the oppressor. The context thus suggests that the picture of killers in the animal world being turned to pets is another image for the same deliverance. There's more that Yahweh intends to achieve through this new shoot. His significance will extend beyond Israel to the entire world. The sequence here implies the idea going back to God's promise to Abraham, that what God does in Israel will be so impressive that the world will flock to Jerusalem to seek blessing and guidance from Yahweh. Here the draw and the achievement of the Davidic shoots in bringing about a transformation of Judahite society. The middle paragraph also talks in terms of a signal summoning the nations, but does so in connection with another aspect of Israel's own need. There's need for social renewal. There's also need to bring back to the country Ephraimites and Judahites who have been transported all over the known world. The Ephraimite transportation happened in the Isaiah's day, but the Judahite transportation happened over a century later, suggesting that this prophecy comes from a later prophet than Isaiah himself, like the prophecies in subsequent parts of this book. In the event, a return of the people scattered all over the world never happens, partly because they like life where they are. Then, in due course, their being spread over the world becomes an alternative means of God's reaching out with his revelation to the whole world. The vision goes beyond the mere return of people to the land. It envisions a healing of the long-standing tension within Israel between Ephraim and Judah. A tension going back to a split within the nation 2 centuries before Isaiah's day that will reappear after the exile in the story told in Ezra and Nehemiah. Both periods also saw a reoccurring tension between Judah and its neighbors and Philistine, Edom, Moab, and Ammon. The story in Ezra and Nehemiah makes especially clear little Judah's vulnerability to these people after the exile. The final paragraph gives Judah a song to sing on that day. A song rather like the thanksgiving or testimonies that appear in the Psalms, for singing when God has done something amazing for people. This psalm also assumes that God's acts for his people are not significant just for them. Their praise deserves to be heard among other nations so that they're drawn to acknowledge Yahweh. The song brings, you ready for clincher? The song brings the first major section of Isaiah to a close. You could say that the whole story is contained in these 12 chapters. There has been confrontation, warning, and promise, and the community is invited to live within the story, facing the challenges of their present, but also, when the warnings have been fulfilled, living by the promises for the future, providing the people with a song that they will be able to sing one day is another way of inviting them to live in hope. If they yield to the song, they're virtually praising God for fulfilling his promises before the fulfillment happens. Wherever they are, they're invited to see that they have come this far by faith and can continue in hope. Not because their faith or hope is big, but because the God they trust and hope in is big. It fits that the last clause in Isaiah 1 through 12 is a declaration about Israel's Holy One. It's hard to acknowledge after 2,700 years that Isaiah's vision has been fulfilled only in little ways. The glass is only half full. Though Jesus' coming does constitute God's yes to his promises, it thus makes it the more possible to keep believing in them and to keep singing the song in anticipation. All right, friend, whenever you're ready, we just got to do Uno.
admin gave 59 pounds for Coach
Thanks for watching, Augie. Saturday, by the way.
Dummy.
Look here. Are you guys are you guys working this Saturday? You think there's a possibility, if you guys are, that I can work with you guys? Okay.
Alright, no, I.
In the kingdom of heaven. Yeah, Morrowind has officially taken, yeah, Oblivion has officially taken all my single playerness. So I have the 3 months of free of like Xbox game. And I was like, all right.
I was behind.
That's a game from my childhood right there.
Charge the courtyard! Leave none of them standing!
Counter.
Ooh, returns, eh? He's playing Risk-Green Returns. I'm like, ooh. Are you doing a run? You have room for +1?